Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we're taking a look at the mysterious case of Kurt Sova, who was only 17 on the day that he disappeared, which was October 23rd of 1981. Now that was a Friday and he skipped school to go and a party in the evening with his friend Sam. They went to a duplex home nearby and there were some older teens there that lived there. Namely Debbie and Clayton, which were brother and sister, and a roommate called Missy, and they had a bunch of people over, and Kurt and Sam were among the partygoers, probably the youngest there. Now, reportedly, Kurt was getting very wasted. He was apparently drinking some type of grain alcohol called Everclear, among other things, no doubt, and he was described as stumbling around and being very sick. So after a while, Sam decided that he might need some fresh air, so he took Kurt outside and kind of left him by this chain link fence. It was kind of cold and they were both just wearing t-shirts. So according to Sam went inside to just grab a jacket, and he said he was out in just a couple minutes and that Kurt was gone by the time he came back. Now, Sam was probably also drinking, and that couple minutes may have been a little bit longer. Who knows, in other words, how long Kurt was standing there by the fence and what happened to him in between time. Now, immediately the day after, the family started searching for Kurt. They combed the entire area, and that search continued in the days following. They actually went to the house and asked about the party, and initially, I think it was Missy who came to the door. Pardon me if it was somebody else, but in any case, it was denied that there was a party at the house at all. And later, they actually turned around and said, yes, there was a party, and he was sick, and he left. But they didn't really get too much out of the people from that house. Something unusual happened on Wednesday morning. Around 3:30 in the morning, Kurt's mother got a call. And it was Debbie from the house saying that somebody was asleep in their basement. And they thought it might have been him. So that same night, Kurt's parents went over to the house and looked through the basement. And they found a cot that looked as though somebody had recently been sleeping on it. But there wasn't anybody else there. That following day, I believe during the daytime on Wednesday, they found Kurt's body in what they call a ravine behind a furniture warehouse. Now, I've seen footage and images of this ravine. If you're thinking something along the lines of a cliff face or something Grand Canyon-like, it was actually more of a shallow, I think, a field that kind of declines. I couldn't quite see it, but it wasn't a huge drop or anything like that. So that would have been pretty obvious if he had been there before, because his father specifically noted that he had searched that area within 24 hours before his body was found there, and he would have noticed Kurt's bright yellow t-shirt. So it was very strange that he ended up there at that day. So the medical examiner took a look at Kurt's to try and determine a cause of death. There were no bullet or stab wounds found or any other types of wounds, and they ended up calling it a physiological accidental death. They did note that he had a 0.11 alcohol level in his blood still, and they determined that he would have passed away within 36 to 24 hours of having been found at that location, which means that he was still alive, at least according to that estimation, the weekend after he disappeared. But we have no idea what happened to him between then and that Wednesday. Now, the case itself has been mishandled by the police. The people that were at the house were not the only people that were ruining the investigative work. Apparently, the police department did not feel it necessary, or at least somehow forgot to take pictures of the actual crime scene. They did take a picture of the shoe that was found. He was not wearing any of the shoes. One of the shoes was found stuck between a couple of rocks, and the other one I don't think they ever found. Kurt himself was wearing all of his clothes except for his shoes, and one sock was missing. That we do know, but there was no picture, at least as far as we know, taken of him laying in the ravine. Only a picture of his body already being put on a stretcher, so we have no information about the crime scene. They also, the police department, did not go and investigate the party house. As far as I'm aware, they did not search the premises. And they also didn't investigate the crime scene beyond the ravine area, like the area around it, the parking lot and the larger area. there, so there was a lot of missed opportunities there. And later I saw that one of the police officers or detectives, not quite sure what his role was also known to have been abusive towards teens that he had arrested previously in multiple ways, and he was apparently also suffering from a drug problem, which may have led to mishandling the case. So I think a lot of evidence sadly got ignored, thrown away, just not considered for various reasons, which is very unfortunate because I believe all Kurt's family really wants is just closure to figure out what happened to Kurt that Friday leading up to that Wednesday. So we have virtually no leads. So we're going to take a look at this case using the tarot, and we're starting off with the vice versa tarot, which is already on the table. It's this one. It has the multiple sides to every card. And for follow-up questions, we're going to move on to the Urban Tarot deck, which is this one with the more modern imagery, like this person, for instance. Without much further ado, I guess we could get started. Before, though, we do that, I would like to say if you have a case that you would like me to review, make sure to use the Google form in the description, which could be at the bottom of the video or top right. It has a tendency to move these days. Maybe YouTube is trying out new things. I don't know. But you can submit your case there, the name of the person, and a little bit of information if you have any. And it's completely anonymous, so you can just leave it there, and then eventually I will get to it. But as I said, let's just get started. I'm going to start shuffling the deck. As soon as we have enough cards on the table, we're going to stop and take a look. So let's go. Okay, so we're starting off strong with the King of Swords over here on the top left, followed by the Wheel in reverse and the Eight of Swords in reverse. So that is an interesting start. First of all, the King of Swords does appear to be somebody who thinks that they know what's best, and they tend to also be very actionable in the sense that I think that this is somebody who will see a situation and immediately have a solution and want to put that into actions. Actions normally more of a wants thing, but in this case, this is somebody who is very logical and just wants to see things settled and things be as efficient as possible. That type of energy is what I'm getting from our King of Swords here. We have the Wheel in reverse, and this is the front of the wheel. So definitely, I think the solution that he thought would be the best thing was apparently not quite what he was expecting. There was definitely a negative surprise there. It didn't pack out as he was expecting. But then we have here the Eight of Swords, which is in reverse. Now, Eight of Swords normally is a mental construct that you can't escape. And in this case, I think it's actually something that is a permanent fixture in his mind, so to speak. Like normally, Eight of Swords is something that can pass after a while. It's not a permanent situation. You have a certain set of thoughts about a situation, and you're kind of like stuck in that of your own doing because you can't leave. As you can see, the swords are not blocking her from getting up and walking away. But it's in reverse, so I think this is more something that is permanently stuck in his mind, and combined with how stern our King of Swords here looks, I think this is somebody who has a very set way of thinking, and when things do not go his way, then he just doesn't have an answer anymore, or he gets stuck in a loop or something along those lines. Like, so he encountered an issue. This could be somebody who thought that they could help Kurt, and then their help was not getting the result they were expecting, and then just kind of got stuck in this self-talk of what do I do now, what do I do now, what do I do now. It always works, it's never like this. And what's next? What shall I do to get out of this? We have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. Now, Page of Pentacles is somebody who tends to spend their money rashly or their resources rashly. In this case, it's also upside down, as well as we're looking at the back side, because normally you would see the front with him with his coin all proud and everything, but as you can see over here, it's not only badly spent, there is nothing left, because as you can see, this is the Horn of Plenty right there, and it is currently very empty, which is very unusual for the Horn of Plenty. Normally everything should continue to stream out from there. So I think that either they found themselves in a situation where they just did not spend their resources wisely enough for a positive result, but they also did not go looking or found no other resources to them, like available to them, that they could use to fix things. So they possibly just had no idea what to do next. The last two cards on the row are the Seven of Pentacles, which is normally looking at something that you've been growing, something that you've been working on in the past, and then on the very end we have the King of Pentacles. So I think this is the same person still, and just looking at the expression of the person on the Seven of Pentacles card, they really feel like they've wasted their opportunities in the past. But then we have the King of Pentacles on the end, who is a very practical person and who is also very solution-minded, and then more practical resource-based solutions, like, okay, this is the problem, we're gonna fix it like so, and that'll be the best outcome for us, that type of thing. So maybe, for instance, if he had taken Kurt in, let's say this is somebody, let's say Kurt wandered off from the fence and he was walking along the road passively. This is just like me thinking out loud about what this could be, and this person came driving past and is like, oh, this person is drunk, I can help them, get in my car, I'll take you here, you can take a nap or something. And then that turned out not to be the best decision, because possibly he may have had alcohol poisoning and needed more urgent care than just a good night's sleep. So maybe he was at that point thinking, okay, this is now a problem, I have essentially a dead child in my house, what do I do? These are my options. This is what I'm going for. That type of energy is what I'm getting from these cards. Of course, not saying that that's what happened, but that's the type of vibe I'm getting from this top row. So this person definitely feels like they invested their resources incorrectly in the past in order to be able to handle the current future. Also noticing that there is a skull at the base of this tree right here. So that only makes it even more obvious, in the sense that, like, they feel like they really didn't spend their resources wisely. Normally, the Seven of Pentacles is a little bit more cheerful, in the sense of it's looking like all the stuff I've spent time on is starting to come to fruition. Maybe the other side has that view. Okay, the other side is a little bit better, but also not great. So yeah, we're definitely looking at the side of somebody feeling that they've missed opportunities, they could have done things better, but now with this king over here, they're just saying, okay, we're gonna do what we can with what we have, so let's get busy, that type of thing. So this is somebody trying to make things right, at least for themselves, and guarding their own resources and future possibilities. Next row, we have what looks to be the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, or at least looking the other way. She is upright, but at least she's looking backwards. Yeah, it is the Queen over here. So I'm getting the vibe that this is somebody that is very close to our King of Swords, King of Pentacles over here combination. And they may have just decided to ignore the situation, and possibly also under the influence of the practicality of her king person over here. Like, okay, yeah, we really don't need to get involved in this. This isn't really our business. This could have happened to anybody. Why should we get involved? And she's definitely not looking at the case at hand, maybe trying to have as little to do with it as possible, it seems. Even the bird on top of the stone chair is not even looking. The only person looking over here is the rabbits. Well, yeah, there's not much they can do. So the queen is turning around to look the other way. Then we have the Nine of Wands in reverse. And we have the Page of Wands right next to that. So the Knight of Wands is somebody, a 9 I should say, it sounds like I say knight, but it is 9 of Wands, is somebody who is tired of fighting. As you can see, they have a bandage wrapped around their head, they're standing there leaning on their wand right there, which they probably used to defeat enemies in the past. They're looking a bit ragged with their clothes all torn up and dirty, and they're looking at this person who is standing at the entrance of a cave who appears to be trying to lure them in. So this is more of an easy way out type of thing, like they're tired and they just want out of this situation, and they're going to choose whatever option they have at hand, which may not be the best option because it is in reverse, which I always see as bad actions when it concerns the Wands cards, because the Wands are usually about taking action, taking control. And so they are, in this case, kind of tired of the situation that they're in, and they just want out, and they pick whatever is best for them. We have another wand card after that. Like I said, the Page of Wands. Now, the Page of Wands is also fairly youthful, adolescent energy, which does not think through things too deeply or just wants to get things done. Interestingly enough, though, this card has a rising phoenix in the background, so this may be them feeling like, okay, this is the best action we can take, and this will reboot whatever thing that we thought was burning down to the ashes. Like if they initially were thinking, oh my god, this is gonna ruin our life, then at this point with the Page of Wands over here, they're thinking, okay, we saved our future, taking care of the problem, now let's just move on, because he does appear to be trying to take a next step into the future, possibly following a new star, because I'm noticing a lot of stars in the sky there. So I think this person, or these persons at this point, were like, okay, this is over, we are done with it, and now let's move on to the future. We have next the Devil, we have the Emperor in reverse, and we have the Eight of Wands in reverse as well. Now I feel like this person and these people have at this point kind of walked out of the scene, like exit stage left. And we have here the Devil, the Emperor in reverse, and the Eight of Wands, like I said, and I think this is a new chapter with new people in it. And this Devil over here is some type of binding, some type of addiction, some type of blockage maybe, because the Devil is all about keeping yourself chained to things. As you can see, the people on the card are literally chained to the base on which he sits, and I think if they really wanted to, they could break free, but they're not making too much effort in that direction. Perhaps too afraid of the consequences. The Emperor over here, Emperor is normally somebody who has some type of fatherly role to play in a person's life, in a society, in a community, and in this case it's in reverse. So this is somebody who was supposed to play a protective part, a protective role, and instead they are doing the opposite, or at least they probably are influenced by this Devil over here, which is strongly reminiscent of what I was talking about earlier about that police person, the police person who had a drug issue and other issues. So this might be a reference to them or other people like them. And once again, we have a reverse wand card. In this case, it's not only just the wands for the actions, but it's also the Eight of Wands, which is normally like a lot of action, a lot of new initiative, but also communication. And it's in reverse with lightning strikes behind it and a peg that's flying in the sky. It's very dark and gloomy. So this seems to me like not only were there wrong actions taken, there were also perhaps wrong communications made. And it seems to revolve around this Emperor person. Somebody was really instrumental in taking these wrong actions due to ties that were personal and not necessarily to do with Kurt at all. Let's see if we can get any more information about this latter part here with the Urban Tarot. See if we can find who is this Emperor and what is the Eight of Wands referring to. Okay, oop, that one's on the floor. We have a star that is on the side. Not really sure whether this is upright or not. It could be shaky grounds for this person. The star, like I said, normally somebody who is, well, I didn't say that in this video, but normally I would say this is somebody who stands out as well. It's probably known for being talented and stuff like that, and definitely revered by certain people. And it could be that this person has a bit of a double life. This person, I think, is still referencing the Emperor, who is currently in reverse over there. So this could be somebody who normally would be trusted with a case like this and just kind of is on shaky grounds themselves. Now there's 2 cards on the floor. I'm going to grab them. We have here the Knight of Swords, which in this deck is actually the King of Swords. The Knights in this deck are the Kings. So we have a King of Swords again, which is interesting because we started off with the King of Swords, and we have the 8 of Cups, which is called indolence in this case. And 8 of Cups is normally a walking away energy, walking away from certain things. So this could also just be this other Knight of Swords, the King of Swords walking away still. They may have been questioned. The original King of Swords may have been questioned, and they just kind of maneuvered their way out of it, because of course the swords are all about thoughts and words, and a King of Swords person is somebody who's really good at words in particular, could also be really good at manipulating, and combined with this 8 of Cups, I feel like they took the opportunity to completely clear their slates and nobody was going to find out about them because they had such a good story. So this may be an interaction between these 2 people. It's kind of like the Emperor, if this is a police person right here, going to talk to the first person that we saw in the reading. And they're not doing a great job, the Emperor, because they have their own issues here with the Devil, and they're pretty good at manipulating and able to talk their way out of it. So it's like one is not doing a very good job, and the other one is doing a very good job of cleaning their own plate, so to speak. So that is them perhaps missing an opportunity to get some more information or to get a suspect who may know more. What else can we see about the case? The 10 of Pentacles, alright, so immediately the thought that goes through my mind is that perhaps there was an exchange of resources happening that kind of also helped with looking the other way, not making any allegations here, just saying that this card following this lineup looks very suspicious, because normally the 10 of Swords is almost like a 10 of Pentacles is almost like an inheritance type of thing. We're getting something from like a previous generation, but it can also just mean good fortune, donations, that type of deal. And following this 8 of Cups with the Game Master King of Swords, I think there may have been an exchange that was to the benefit of the both of them, which made things fizzle out in ways of investigative leads. Oop. Another card on the floor. Ace of Discs, that is the Ace of Pentacles, meaning there is a negative investment taking place. Could be a deal being struck that turned out to be bad for either one of the people involved in the deal or for both of them involved in the deal. It could also just reference once again that there was an exchange that was not above board, at the very least had negative consequences for people. And then, of course, in particular, the people who are the most in need of assistance during this time, which is the family. We have here the 2 of Pentacles, which is normally balancing, or yeah, considering balancing your finances. May also be like doubts about your future investments. What should I put my money in? Because as you can see, this is a person doing exercises and they can see themselves, or at least they are reflected in the mirror. So it's like 2 options where they could invest their money in this case. Maybe, since they do look kind of thoughtful, that they're considering whether the option they chose was the right one. They may have decided perhaps they should have chosen something else. Also noticing that the cards are going way off screen. Hang on. There we go. Oop. So maybe they made an investment and there weren't too many good things that followed from that, and that perhaps they started to doubt whether that was the right thing to do. And since the ace was already in reverse, that's already doubtful that it was a good thing. So we have the Wheel of Fortune over here, so something definitely changed after that. Not for the better, because this is indeed one of the least cheerful Wheels of Fortune that I have in my collection of decks. But at this point it is anybody's game, because this is a fairground and the wheel is turning, and who knows who is going to be up next. I am getting a vibe of playing with people's emotions, particularly because if you look over here at the left over there, you see those theater masks, like the happy and the sad and everything in between, and the angry as well. So there's like 3 emotions being shown. There's also I think that's a crystal ball from like a diviner down there, some type of truthsayer or psychic. So yeah, this is basically anything goes. It's up in the air. We're playing with people's emotions, and who knows what's going to happen next. So this is a very unstable situation that we are now in. Oops, there's another one. This is... Alright, we have the King of Pentacles back. So we are once again being practical. Once again, the knights in this deck are the king. So this is the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is very practical, just like the king back there. Whoops. But this one is in his own kitchen. So this one is in his own lane and doing his thing that he was trained for. So I think we're looking at a professional. And it could be, this feels very much like, okay, since everything is up in the air, I'm just going to do what I think is best and what will lead to the best resolution for us, or the most likely resolution that people will agree with or causes the least amount of trouble, I think. So this might once again be our Emperor in reverse, since we are also putting it on top of the Emperor right here. So we're in this corner again. So this could be the police department just trying to make things work the best way they know how. We have a couple more cards here. This is a Prince of Cups, which is the Knight of Cups in this deck. And we have this 7 of Swords. So 7 of Swords is normally like a cheating type of thing. Pulling the rug out from somebody else's feet, particularly with words, because it is a sword card. This could be somebody lying to themselves, or somebody living with lies that have been told to them, because we also see here the Knight of Cups, and it's in reverse, in this case called the filmmaker. Now normally the Knight of Cups is somebody who just sits on a horse staring at their cup, and the horse is just walking without much input from the rider. So basically they're so self-absorbed in their emotions that they don't even really notice where they're going. But in this deck, interestingly, it's called a filmmaker. Now the filmmaker is somebody who plans out everything. So I think that whomever is living with these lies over here was told these lies by this filmmaker type person. So it could be that they were told a whole story, they were spun a narrative that was not true, but they were made to believe because this filmmaker person, or this Knight of Cups, was very convincing in that sense. So this sounds like family and friends being either told not very much, or half-truths, or just lies to steer them in the direction that the filmmaker wants them to go in. And since they are a Knight of Cups, that does mean that they are definitely worried mostly about their own emotions. So it could be that they wanted the family, friends, whoever else was asking questions to go in that particular direction with that particular set of lies and thoughts, so that they wouldn't have to confess or feel bad about things that they had done in the past. Let's draw a few more cards. Are we gonna ever find out what happened to Kurt? Are we gonna see any changes in this case? It's still a very much live, active case. Are we gonna see anything? Oh, there's 2 cards on the floor. Let me get them. First we have the Hermit. And we have the 4 of Swords in reverse. So the Hermit is somebody who is normally retreating from society, retreating from public life to investigate themselves. But in this case, this Hermit shines a lot of light, and I think this may be somebody who is quietly working away on this case and perhaps just not letting it go, and also kind of feeling like they might be close to resolution, because if you look at the ground there, there's like this golden egg. And I don't know if that's a snake wrapped around it or something's wrapped around it. But there's like a golden egg down there, which I think is their goal, their prize, like seeing that hatch, because that would be the resolution to the case. And they're not resting, because the 4 of Swords is normally a rest card. taking a break from society, again, just like the hermit in that sense, but they are unable to rest. So I think that there's definitely people, or perhaps one or more, that are very dedicated to this case, who are trying to solve it, and they're not letting go. They're not taking a break. They want this resolved, and I think they are definitely going to make a lot of headway with that attitude. Are they actually going to solve it? Are we going to see some resolutions? Is the family going to see some resolutions? We have here the Four of Cups in reverse. Once again, no choice. Normally, Four of Cups is ignoring options that you have before you, and in reverse, I feel like this is very much like there is no other option. We need to solve this. There is a lot of anxiety still, though, because we have the Nine of Swords and it's in reverse, which I always see as anxiety that has rooted. And once again, look who we've got here. We've got the Knight of Cups. He's back. But in this case, he appears to be looking a bit more. Yeah, he's still looking at the cup. No, it's not much different from before. But we're looking at him rather than him riding away, which is normally the case, where he's kind of ignoring everyone and we're not really getting a good view of him. I think he may be worried. It could be that this is one of the people that used to mishandle the case, who is kind of anxious about it and still focusing on their own emotions. So it could be that our hermit friends over here who are working on the case on this end are closing in on the Knight of Cups and all of their concerns on the other end, and they just have no other choice. They feel like they have no other choice. So this looks hopeful for a resolution to the case of Kurt Sova, so I'm hoping that we're going to see something about that in the next few years. In any case, this is what I'm seeing for Kurt. I hope you found that interesting. Like I said at the beginning, if you have any other cases you'd like me to take a look at, make sure to use the Google form in the description. And I hope to see you in another video. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.